Hi, my name is Chucky Thomas, and I am the ADHD screenwriter. And in this video, you're going to hear all about my ADHD journey. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I've got one other video for you to watch, and it's the intro to the channel, and I highly recommend it because it really goes over how this channel works and what's going to look like moving forward. However, I'm just glad you're here. Make sure you like and subscribe down below, leave comments, all that kind of stuff. I really want to interact with you, especially if you have ADHD or the tons of mental illnesses that I have as well. All right, let's flash back to 2020. You probably remember it. There was this thing called COVID that went around and shut the world down. For us filmmakers, we literally couldn't do anything. There were people who were on set wearing tons of gear so they didn't die. It was an insane time, and we just couldn't make a lot of stuff, which is really bad for me because I have to write to not be depressed. So how that translated to my life was eventually I just kind of stopped sleeping. I had to take medicine for the first time. I had to take melatonin, I had to take sleeping pills. And over the years, since 2020, it just stopped working. I had to take more melatonin. I had to take more sleeping pills. I started taking other stuff, anything that I could get my hands on and cram in my mouth or wherever to try and go to sleep. And eventually, it literally stopped. So it was time to go to a doctor. So around Thanksgiving last year, I had a mental breakdown. You may have had one too, because the world. But mine was crazy. And I've never had this before. And I literally could not stop crying. I couldn't get out of bed. To be fair, the past few years have been really tough. I lost my dog, both my parents. We moved. I graduated. It's been a lot. And again, the world. So I knew I had to go to a psychiatrist. I had a mental breakdown. I can't operate like this. So I went to my primary doctor first. Especially it's about the sleep thing, and she didn't really have anything. I went to a sleep doctor. She said, are you having trouble going to sleep or are you waking up? And I said, going to sleep. She said, I can't help you. Have you tried going outside? And I said, I have been outside before, and it did not help me sleep. She said, try going outside more. And I said, this is very helpful. Thank you so much. So I went home and looked for another doctor. She was doing her best. I don't want to insult her. She was doing her best. She couldn't help me. I knew I had to find somebody else, so I went to a psychiatrist. So the first psychiatrist was interesting. The first visit was okay. We just kind of got some basic stuff out of the way, and I was like, look, I just can't sleep. This is my big issue here. I can't sleep. And she said, let's talk about anxiety and depression and that kind of stuff that might be leading to no sleep. Well, the first visit was great. The second one was not. What happened is, in the meantime, I had been doing a lot of research on ADHD. And I'm not saying research ADHD like you hear some people say it, like, oh, I'm going to self-diagnose. I knew I had to go to a doctor about it. But I strongly felt that this is what was part of what was wrong with me, why I couldn't sleep. So much was adding up. And when I told my doctor this, she said, you're 45. Why do you think you have ADHD? Children have ADHD. And I said, I'll see you later, lady. I don't take that kind of stuff. I'm middle-aged. I'm not a child. So I went to another friend who has ADHD, and she said, go to ADHDonline.com and take this test. It's the first step. And boy, did I just hit all the marks. All of a sudden, my life really started to come into focus. And then I found psychiatrist number 2, who I'm still with, and she has prescribed lots of stuff. So you may have heard ADHDonline.com and thought, that doesn't sound real. My psychiatrist, my new one, the one who believes me, actually agrees with that. She does not trust that entirely. And also, I kind of see where she's coming from. So one thing that happened is my first psychiatrist prescribed me Prozac. And guess what happens with people who have bipolar disorder? Take Prozac. Their brain lights up like a Christmas tree, and I went crazy. And apparently that happens with bipolar disorder. If you take Prozac, you have a manic episode. And boy, did that happen to me for like 5 days. However, I had had it before. I knew what it felt like, so I knew to stop taking that. And then I got my new psychiatrist, and she said, let's take this one step at a time, shall we? Let's get your anxiety down. Let's get the bipolar disorder down before we even approach ADHD. Well, we are now at that point. I am now about to take, later this year, an in-person test for ADHD. Now, that's going to be, I already have one official diagnosis online. It's from a doctor. However, this is fully going to say, yes, you've got it. And again, I agree with this. It's totally fine. I would much rather not have another manic episode. So I agree with the fact that she's taking it step by step. One thing my first psychiatrist did not know when she casually said, you're 45. I'm 45. I grew up in the 80s. I grew up in the country in the 80s. We didn't get that kind of stuff. I may have gone to the doctor and my mom was like, yeah, I'm not getting him tested because all of a sudden he's the kid in Sylvester, Georgia that has ADHD, out of the entire town. So I just didn't get tested. So I'm really glad my new psychiatrist is being very thorough because that's also how my brain works. So I really appreciate it. And we're getting there slowly but surely. I will say there is a chance. I call this the ADHD screenwriter. There's a chance I literally just have brain damage. I'm actually supposed to get a brain scan at some point. It might just be brain damage. We don't actually explain a lot of things, but I'm just saying this, and the chance that happens, I'm totally fine with it. Maybe I'll change the name of the channel, whatever, but it's a possibility. So I mentioned doing research. One of the things that really put me over the edge that I probably most likely have ADHD was I watched an ADHD simulator. They have a bunch of these on YouTube and TikTok and stuff. They're just kind of floating around. And it's just a recreation of what someone's brain sounds like. And I'll actually show you right now what my face looked like watching that video. That's not what everyone's brain does. Why did no one tell me this? That was it. I had no idea. I thought everyone's brain was yelling at them 24 hours. I thought everyone's brain had at least one song, maybe two, playing at the same time. Nobody told me that nobody else was doing this. It was a revelation. And the way my life started coming into focus and every single thing I've ever done in my entire life is just unbelievable. So, in that spirit, I would like to play you a simulation of my brain. I released this audio on my podcast, Atlanta Film Chat, a few months ago, and it actually really seemed to help some people. So I would love to play it here, and I will show you what it looks like, me just sitting there trying to write something while my brain is screaming at me. Enjoy! Here we go. All right, we're writing. Yep, we're writing. Writing. Here we go. All right. We didn't do the, all right, sitting down. Here we go. Yep. All right. Time to write. Writing time. All right. Where were we? Oil change. Oil change, man. Word. Oh, I forgot to do that resume thing. Yeah, hey, we really need to do that. Too soon. Nope. We're working on the story. Pay attention. No. Like, we've got the story up. We're going to story. Sit down. Right. One of us. You've already got your smack. Nope. Thinking. Hey, we've got a couple of things. Bye. One of us. Can you pay attention for just a minute? No. Stop. Stop talking to yourself. Is it Thomas Dolby? Oil change. The world. Mattress. Clothes. The other clothes. They're still in the dryer. Bye. Hey, hello. Singing. Did you? One of us submarines. Hey, what did you thinking? Hello. Bye. Take them. Ooh. Bye. That's from a video game. Stop. So how about that? That's my brain. Does yours sound like that? Guess what? You might need to go to the doctor because not everybody's brain sounds like this. There's not usually a cacophony of sounds in people's brains. They're able to shut it off. Like mine does not shut off. They're able to just shut it off and like go to sleep or whatever. I can't do that. If you're the same way, please go see somebody. And I don't mean do research like go on TikTok or whatever. That's fine to start with. Like I said, that was a great video and everything. Don't even trust me. Don't trust this. Please go to a doctor, an actual real doctor, and get diagnosed. Because as I mentioned about the bipolar disorder and stuff like that, if you start taking things just randomly and not very careful about it, it can be a disaster. If I had not known about that, having manic episode with Prozac, I might be in jail or dead or something. I mean, legitimately. In fact, my psychiatrist said if I had not stopped, I might be in a mental hospital. So do not do your own research and then start taking stuff. Do your own research by looking online, watching videos like this maybe, or actually more qualified people, and then go to a doctor because it's very important. I cannot stress this enough. However, one good thing about this whole ordeal is I figured out my brain works a little differently, obviously, but as far as writing, it works very differently. I have so many things that I would love to share with other people that I know now are ADHD traits that most people don't have. And I think I can teach them, which is all this channel is about. So that pretty much sums up my ADHD journey. It's been a little crazy, but it's really helped bring my life into focus. And more importantly, I'm able to move forward with all this stuff. I'm getting treatment. I've got some medicine that's helping me right now with bipolar disorder and my myriad of other things, anxiety, etc. And this year, I'm really going to find out more just how my brain works. And I would love to share it with you, which I got to say, it would be great if you could like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff, because I have lots of tips that I would love to share. If you're a writer, this is mainly about screenwriting, but you can take it with novels, short stories, poems, music, art, whatever. I just want to share how my brain works, and maybe it helps you. So please like and subscribe. Please comment below. Maybe you've got your own tips. Maybe you've got your own journey you want to share, your ADHD journey or whatever struggles you have. I want to hear about them. Thanks again for watching. And I have to say, if you have ADHD or some other illness, are you using this video to disassociate and not write? Are you sure? You know you are. Go write and then come back. See you next time.